Good morning, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. This is Rich again, back for your first video blog of the day for Tuesday, August 5th, 2014, around 7:20 a.m. in Belleville, Massachusetts. Going to be a nice and sunny day. Going to be a little bit humid, probably close to 90 today. Chance of thunder showers. Some news to report. The San Francisco Giants ace pitcher Matt Cain's going to miss the rest of the season due to a bum elbow. He might have surgery to remove bone chips, so he'll be lost for the season. And that's about it for the news. And 52 years ago today, actress Marilyn Monroe passed away at the age of 36. Okay? And my next subject is my continuing subject, the top 10 greatest players for each NHL Original Six team. And my next one is about the New York Rangers. The New York Rangers came into the National Hockey League in the 1926-1927 season, and they won 3 Stanley Cups to date. They are a great team. They play at the world's most famous arena, New York's Madison Square Gardens. They made the Cup Finals last year, and they're going to be a force to reckon with in the Metropolitan Division this year. They might win the division this year. And now here's the list of the 10 greatest New York Rangers players of all time. Ranked at number 10 is goaltender Mike Richter. Mike played his entire career with the Rangers, stopping goal. He was a good goaltender. He won 305 games in a Rangers uniform. He was the goaltender that led them to the 1994 Stanley Cup Championship. And it's number 35, retired by the Rangers. He's a great all-around player for goaltending. The 9th greatest Ranger player of all time was John Littell. John Littell played his first 12 seasons in the National Hockey League with the Rangers. He was a consistent goal scorer. He was very great, and he was on a famous line with Rod Gilbert and Vic Hartfield. They called him a gamer line for the Rangers. And John Littell's a Hockey Hall of Famer. He's ranked at number 9. The number 8th greatest New York Rangers player of all time was defenseman Brad Park. Brad Park played his first 10 seasons of his National Hockey League career with the Rangers. He was a great defenseman. He always finished second in the Norris Trophy award for best defenseman in his era, because Bobby Orr was the best defenseman during that era, and he was great, and he was one of the best Rangers defensemen of all time, and he won number 2. And they should all retire his number 2 as well. Well, it's for Leach, but they should add Brad Park's name to it as well, because he also wore number 2. The number 7th greatest New York Rangers player of all time was goaltender Ed Jacquemin. Ed Jacquemin was probably the best goaltender for the Rangers during the 1960s and 1970s. He led the Rangers to a Cup final in 1972, and he won over 200 games with the Rangers. His number 1's retired by the New York Rangers, and he's a Hockey Hall of Famer. He ranks in at number 7. Number 6 is defenseman Harry Howell as the greatest Rangers players of all time. Howell was a very good defenseman. He won the 1967 Norris Trophy. He was probably the best player on the Rangers for some bad Rangers teams in the 1960s. And he's a Hockey Hall of Famer, and his number 3's retired by the Rangers. And he's ranked in at number 6. Ranked in at number 5 for all-time greatest New York Rangers players is goaltender Henrik Lundqvist, who's the all-time winningest goaltender in Rangers history. He won the Vezina Trophy in 2012, and he won Rookie of the Year in 2006. His stats are going to go higher and higher. He's played 10 seasons already in the NHL, and I think he's going to continue to continue to climb up the list for all-time greatest goaltenders in NHL history. He's on pace to win over 600 games. He's a very classy player. He's a future Hall of Famer, and he's number 5 on the all-time Rangers best players of all time. The number 4 best Rangers player of all time is Andy Bathgate. Andy Bathgate was a good one of the best NHL players in the 50s and 60s. He had a very hard slap shot. The slap shot he did in 1959 hit like Jacques Plante in the face, so Jacques Plante had to wear a mask, and he won 1959 NHL MVP award, and he was also one of the best players when the Rangers were in their lean years back in the 60s. He's a Hockey Hall of Famer, and his number 9's retired by the team along with Adam Graves. The number 3 best player in the New York Rangers of all time was defenseman Brian Leetch. Brian Leetch was a 2-time Norris Trophy winner. He won the 1994 Conn Smythe Trophy for Most Valuable Player. In the playoffs, he was once the captain of the Rangers for about 3 years. He's the best defenseman in Rangers history, and he played most of his career as of the Rangers, and he's a Hockey Hall of Famer. Brian Leetch is number 3 on the all-time New York Rangers list. The number 2 most best Ranger players of all time, Rod Gilbert. Rod Gilbert holds the record for most goals, assists, and points in a Rangers uniform. He played the entire 18-year career with the Rangers, and his number 7's retired by the team. He's number 2 on the all-time list. And number 1 on the all-time list for the best Rangers player of all time is Mark Messier. Mark Messier had 2 stints with the Rangers, but he brought his leadership and to the team in 1991. He won an MVP award. 1992, 1994, he led the Rangers to break the 54-year-old curse of not winning Stanley Cup, and he made some guarantees along the way. And Mark Messier, in my opinion, is the best captain in NHL history, and he's the greatest Ranger player of all time. And number 11's retired by the Rangers. And that's about it for that subject. And my next subject later on today, I won't tell you what it is, but my next blog about greatest NHL players of all time for each team will be the Montreal Canadiens. I'll see you later, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. Bye.